So Streets of Colour is loosely based on my experiences. I encountered a lot of racism when I was a kid and into my teen years. A very visceral encounter with somebody who was quite younger than me. That encounter that made me think, there's a lot of people who have probably suffered at the hands of racism and gone through a lot of similar experiences being born from migrant parents or people who came from overseas. So I put pen to paper and I thought, let's write a personal story about growing up in Western Sydney and see if people can relate to that. Every character had to be unique and had to be truthful. Some characters had to be authentic. Having actors that grew up in Western Sydney, like Rahel Roman himself, was such a great find because Rahel lends himself very well to the character of Tez. He also went through very similar experiences himself, even though he's from a different generation than mine, but it just goes to show that the racism that has occurred was generational as well. So having somebody who's an exceptional actor like Rahel and having those personal experiences as well, it was magic. Yeah, Streets of Colour is it's actually quite diverse. I think I counted about 45 nationalities. So I dare say that Streets of Colour is the most multicultural film ever to be made in Australia. I don't know if anyone can beat that record. Come and see me if if you have made one. There's always a challenge every day, whether it's the weather's going to behave or a camera stops working, whatever it is. But there's always multiple challenges. We had a problem with an actor calling in sick, and so we had to quickly think how we could use up our spare time that we had now. So instead of losing time shooting, we have everyone there. We basically had to turn an external house from daytime to nighttime, and my exceptional camera crew were thinking very quick on their feet. They're able to transform the front of a house to make it look like nighttime, and I dare say if you can pick out which scene that is, you cannot tell at all. I think the best way to educate and inspire people is through entertainment. So we took the creative liberty of making the film a little bit more exciting, if you like, a little bit more action in it. So having a truthful depiction of the life as it is, the life that I grew up with, and having a mix of a little bit of entertainment in there, I think it was a really good balance. If I thought that the racism was exaggerated when I was a kid or when I was a teenager, and then having realized in my adult life that it was still very prevalent, the reward is now being able to tell this story instead of seeing a therapist for $150 an hour or whatever they charge. This is almost like therapy, and I feel like having made this film has probably been the most therapeutic exercise, if you like, in being able to tell this story that I can share with everyone, that people can relate to it and that can help them. And I think that's the biggest reward ever. If people can walk away from this having been educated or inspired, or even just having their life change just a tiny little bit, then that is probably the greatest reward. Being able to deliver a really personal story and being able to hopefully change people's lives by telling a personal story and being vulnerable in telling that story, and at the same time having such a thoroughly entertaining film and being able to deliver that to an audience, especially when the landscape of film sometimes can be a little bit slow or boring. I feel like we've delivered a film that is exciting, it's entertaining, and it has a lot of emotion as well.